Hey, guess who's back? It's Joejuan Williams, and we're going to talk about what these coaches are saying anonymously about Vandy. Let's get after it, man.
Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Joining me is Joejuan Williams. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Thank you to the everydayers for making this show what it is. And however you got here, thanks for getting here and hope you guys stay. But Joejuan's joining us back on a return trip here to the Locked On Vandy podcast. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Vandy. What is the perception of Vandy outside of Nashville, within the conference, all of that stuff? I mean, you've got the Pavia Factor, you've got Eli Stowers, all of that stuff. I've taken away like 5 burning questions I want to ask you, Joejuan, get your opinion on that. And we'll get into that. And of course, the Nashville Regional kicks off this weekend. Vandy is favored, but it's not going to be a cakewalk. So we're going to get into all of that. So here's the quote that I saw produced by Athlon Sports. And I'm sure every year, if you get Athlon Sports college football preview, you see these comments and you see these articles. So this is what it says. Pavia is an it factor guy. He's not the most talented, but he's the definition of a college football playmaker. He's never out of it until the play's over and the entire offense improves when he is clicking. I think you'll see more advanced concepts from them this season to mix up their standard option play. And they go on to say, there's still another coach, I guess, said they're still lacking depth on both lines of scrimmage. That's probably the biggest weakness right now. So just initially, Joejuan, what you see that? You read that. I'll put it back up for a second. You read this. What's your thoughts?
Hey, we on the board. We getting hot. I see that, and I look at it as a compliment of where it goes to show like our improvement from last year with bringing in those guys, bringing in Pavia, Eli Stowers, those guys that come in and really be playmakers, and it really. You bring in playmakers, dynamic players, it really changed the game for you. And then it really changes the perspective of Vanderbilt football. And so you got a guy that comes in there and knows that, okay, I'm a playmaker, I'm gonna go make these plays. And it's shown on the outside. We trust in that guy that no matter what, it could be third down and forever. I know that I got Pavia in my corner. At the end of the day, like, we can make something happen. Something can shake. And he's shown that throughout the last season of where he would make magical plays happen throughout each game where it's like, okay, how did you do that? That didn't look like anything was going to come out of that. And a special play was formed. And so that's the type of guy we got. And so now from that play, you see people on the outside looking in and like, okay, they have something special here. Especially with the playmakers we have.
Absolutely. And, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, okay, they're recognizing that Diego Pavia is the guy, and they're recognizing this offense is on the rise. But like, I still don't think like with the season they had last year, they had a roster that wasn't quite as strong as their roster currently sits. And they won 7 games. I just don't feel like the respect is there, to be honest. But when you look at the Pavia Factor, it got me thinking, how impactful is the Pavia Factor? Like, what does it do to this team? You see Cedric Alexander here. I mean, it elevated his game for sure.
Yeah. I think that what Pavia brings is a different dimension to the game. It's like he's not a one-trick pony when it comes to he can throw, he can run, and he can scramble and make plays happen, And so it's really, and that as a defender, I know that the hardest games to play is against a good scrambling quarterback, a quarterback that can make, when the pocket collapses or when things go bad, he's not just sitting there and throwing it out of bounds, and he's going to go make a play. He's going to go make something special happen because as a defense, we really don't account for the quarterback most of the time. Right. And so now you have to, for most teams, like we go against a guy like Pavia, you got to have a guy that accounts for the quarterback. So you're taking a defender out just to account for the quarterback at all times. And so having a guy like that on your squad, it only and his confidence, his team leadership. I just remember watching the bowl game and seeing him mic'd up, and the way that he was talking to himself, the way that he was talking to his teammates before that game, pre-game. I was just like, yeah, that is the guy. That sounds like a confident guy. It sounds like a leader that you want to rally behind and get behind and be like, okay, I'll run through a brick wall for this guy. Even hearing Coach Lee speak, that's a guy that I know that, okay, I'll run through a brick wall for that guy. So having somebody like Clark Lee, and then after that, having Diego Pavia, yeah, it amplifies the whole team in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And and from an offensive perspective, you have a guy like that, like you don't really even need to say much because he's going to carry the load on that. But from a defensive perspective, as a teammate, now you know what that does from a defensive perspective, like if you're going against him. But like, how do you think? Because he's not directly related to the defense, but like, how does that make the defense? How does that charge up the defense with his personality, with how he leads?
It's definitely a motivator. Because for me, I feel like I would have loved to have him as a teammate. You feel me? Because I got the same. I feel like I had the same mentality of where it's like I love to compete. I love to go out there and win and go make something happen, especially at corner. And so to have my quarterback the same way, fired up. And seeing that no matter what, if the play breaks down, if we need something to make it happen, I know that my quarterback is going to do everything in his power to make this play happen. And that hypes up not only me, but the defense and the team as a whole, of where it's like, okay, if our quarterback's feeling this fired up and he's a leader, it only charges up everybody else and only makes everybody else play amplified. So it all starts, and that's why, quarterbacks are the highest paid players, the highest looked at, the most important player on the team, because from that, it all starts with that's the biggest leader your quarterback is. And so having him as a leader and having him that fired up is only going to amplify not only the offense, but the defense, the special teams, the coaching staff, the fans. Everybody gets hyped up when they see Diego Pavia scramble out and dive and make a first down from a third and forever. You feel me? And now he's getting hyped and celebrating and talking trash. And now everybody's getting live. It sprinkles down from there. And that just shows the type of leadership and the type of role that he takes on. It's only going to amplify everybody else. And that's why Vandy, even last year, was their gameplay was just very special. Something to tune into every week just because of him.
He was must-see TV, and they won 7 games, 6 regular season. They had a chance at 8 regular season games legitimately. They beat Georgia State, which is inexcusable, but you beat Georgia State, and if you don't doink the field goal against Missouri, I think you end up winning that game, and you're sitting at 8 wins. And you're probably not playing Georgia Tech in a bowl game. You're probably playing somebody else. But like, you had a chance, like you had a legitimate shot at 9 games. And not saying it's a bad thing that they didn't get there. It just shows you how close this program is. And you have a weapon. You have an absolute weapon outside of Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
Eli Stowers.
Yes.
Right. I've seen some mock drafts where he's a first rounder as a tight end. Like, he's that dynamic type of tight end, kind of that slash guy, like the most recent run of tight ends, like your Warrens, who just got drafted by the Colts, or like your TJ Hawkinsons, who he's a little bit bigger mold of a hybrid tight end, but like your Kyle Pitts, your Brock Bowers, like those guys that can really make it happen athletically, but also possess the size and the ability to block as an inline guy too.
Yeah, I like that TJ Hawkins comparison, actually. Again, coming off of a big breakout year for him, 5 touchdowns, close to 650 yards of reception, 8.8 yards after the catch.
He lost it in the bowl game too.
Yeah, like Buddy is playing like a tight end 1, and it's actually dope to see the connection that him and Pavia have, because that's another thing. You have the playmaker in Pavia, where it's like, okay, we know that he's going to make a play happen. You have a playmaker in the receiving core that's like, okay, if they have such a connection where he throw it to him 9 times out of 10, I'm expecting them to catch it. Really, 10 times out of 10, I expect them to catch it. You feel me? I expect them to go make the play.
Balls in the air.
Balls in the air, he's going to go make it. And something happens to where okay, Diego Pavia is going to make it. I mean, yeah, Pavia's going to go out there, make something happen. And then my guy, Eli Stowers, is going to go out there and on the receiving end and make something happen. I mean, it's a special connection. So I truly feel like he's tight end one. Hopefully he has another great year this year and improves on his numbers from last year. And so once that happens, I feel like truly he'll be a tight end one in the NFL draft. He'll go first round.
Yeah, no doubt. And the only way he can improve is if this wide receiver room improves as well. And there's a burning question. I've been waiting to ask you this because I made this bold prediction. If you stick around, I'm going to ask you, but we're going to do that next. How about that for a tease, right? So we're presented by FanDuel, and guess what, man? I don't know if you play FanDuel, if you're allowed to play FanDuel, given your NFL status, but if you do, there's a lot of ways to get in on the action with player props, performance trends, same game parlays, all of that stuff. All right, now you can tell me what you would wager if you could play, but Vandy's over under is 4.5 wins. I'm smashing the over. Not to influence you a little bit, Joejuan, but I am smashing the over. I'm running as fast as I can to FanDuel and smashing that over.
With the NFL rules that's set up right now, I would definitely not be betting on anything. At the same time, if I could, I'm smashing on the over. 4.5 wins, I feel like is really, really disrespectful in my turn. That's my first reaction when I hear that is 4.5 wins, especially with the returning guys that's coming in, the new guys that's coming in as well. But at the same time, that's easy money for me. I look at that and be like, shit, that's easy.
Yeah. Easy money. And hey, we'll expand on that here in just a little bit. But I just want to tell you that if you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com right now. Place your first $5 bet. If that bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. How about that? And make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, college football, MLB, all of that. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Shout out to the everydayers. Shout out to my man Joejuan over here, man, for coming back, making the return trip. What a cool hat he's wearing too, man. I love that. I was actually in third grade when that series took place. Watching it, it was a lot of fun. It was like the first real series that I remember vividly watching.
Third grade, yeah, I wasn't even thought about yet. I
was like third grade, heading into fourth grade when that happened.
Yeah, respect.
And so. Yeah, I'm old, man. But so if you need a second listen, Locked On SEC with Chris Gordy, Locked On Ole Miss. If you want, really good friend of mine, Stephen Willis, great perspective on the Ole Miss Rebels. Obviously, Chris Gordy, great perspective on the greatest conference in all the land. The news that's happening with that, we can get into that on a later date if something breaks. But Joejuan, this is a question I've been dying to ask you, and I made a bold prediction about this wide receiver core. And it's bold because these guys aren't proven. You get a bunch of guys that you're like, okay, he's got some good, measurables, but he really couldn't do anything. Or this guy couldn't, this guy really didn't do anything. Or this guy's coming from Division II, right? It's a bunch of unproven guys, talented guys, but a bunch of unproven guys. Now, what I want to ask you is this, okay? This is number 3 here. No, actually number 4. Playing DB. Can wide receivers and DBs improve simply by competing with each other? How does that work? When you see development, you're going up against each other. I made the bold prediction they were going to be productive simply because the wide receivers were going to go against Vandy's corners all spring, all fall, all summer, and all fall camp. They can only get better because of that.
You can only get better. Iron sharpens iron, especially during this time, during the spring. During the summer, they get together in the summers, do their own little workouts over time. And just talking about my day and how I even got better over the spring and summer a lot. Going against Kalijah Lipscomb, Trent Sherfield, Jordan Matthews will come out there and still come back and get work in with them. At the end of the day, those are the time. This is the time to where you really want to sharpen up your tool set, sharpen up your game, work on your craft.
Yeah.
And then once you get into the season, okay, you see where you stand. But they're going to go back and forth. They're going to go compete over the spring, over this summer now, going into workouts and stuff, and now into fall camp in the next few months. They're going to go in and continue to keep competing and only get better. And they're going to reach a certain level. They're going to reach a certain level just battling themselves. And then once they get out to real football, once the season starts, they're going to see where they stand and then improve their game from there. That's how it always goes. You feel me? You get used to, at a certain point, you get used to going against your same guys. You start to know their releases. You start to know what packages, what routes they like to do, and what angles they like to run at. And so it's a great refresher over these next few months. And when they really they kick off on the first time, and you go to get somebody new, and you don't know anything except the film that they put up. It's something new, and then from there they're going to build their own confidence and stuff again. So I'm excited actually to see. I'm excited to see how not only the wide receivers, but I'm excited to see how the DBs are going to play. I know we got some returning starters in the DB room.
Your boy Martell Height is trying to be our version of Travis Hunter.
Hey,
I love it.
Hey, look, I respect it. At the end of the day, you're getting paid now, so go make your money's worth, man. I respect it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was going to ask you, who do you feel like will be a potential breakout star in the receiving room, and who do we have coming back? Who do we have coming back overall that you have your eye on?
In the receiving room, Junior Sherrill's really the only returning guy that.
Yeah, and that was my first. Nope.
But one guy that I'm really excited about, I'm hoping he becomes more consistent, is Joseph McVay. He's the one who caught the deep ball against Missouri to open the game.
Yep.
He was a true freshman last year. Will be a true sophomore. Got a little nicked up. Had some soft tissue stuff going on in the spring, so didn't really participate as much as he probably wanted to or would have liked to or probably should have. But I think he's going to be the next guy you look at and say, oh, that guy is going to be good. Okay, he's going to be the deep threat. But the name that intrigues me also a great deal, because I don't know much about him, but I know him and Pavia were teammates at New Mexico State. They were both Vandy State Aggie doors. And this coaching staff really wanted him. And I think he ended up going to Mississippi State, I think, when Pavia came here. And then he didn't like it, obviously, and then he hit the portal again, and we got him. He's a summer enrollee, so he didn't do spring practice. But Trent Hudson, I think, is going to end up being that guy. I think him and Junior Sherrill are going to provide a really nice tandem on the outside. And then I think that frees things up for Bosky Barrett, Trey Richardson, the new transfer coming in from Division II. He's going to be kind of a utility knife guy. Like a Swiss Army knife guy is what I call him. Can kind of do a bunch of different things. So, this receiving core is full of potential and full of guys that can play different roles, which I think is exciting for this offense. Yep. When you're developing scheme, I know in my time as offensive coordinator, the 6 years that I coordinated the offense, albeit wasn't at Vanderbilt, but I was in the situation where I had to be really creative and have certain guys do certain things, and you kind of get in that mold where you're like, okay, well, if I call this play, I know this guy's gonna do his thing, and this guy specializes in this role or whatever that role is. You have a go-to guy, and you know that you can achieve true balance. Which balance is, to me, balance is not 50% run, 50% pass. That's the common knowledge. Well, they're not balanced. They're not 50% run. Balance is getting all your playmakers involved. Getting your offense involved, getting your tight end involved, getting your slot guys, and changing up personnel, getting guys that need to be in there and involved. That's true balance to me, and I think Vandy will be able to achieve that. And I'm really
I respect that from the secondary standpoint. I even look at it from our returning guys. Some of the returning guys I see that I expect to have great seasons this year. CJ Taylor's coming back. I think it's going to be his senior year now. So he got
CJ. Oh, CJ went to the draft.
CJ went to the draft.
Yeah, he didn't get drafted. He didn't get picked, and I think he's still waiting on a contract. He's not coming back.
I was
bubble, but
no, he was. So he a senior last year. Mm-hmm. I completely expect him to be back. That was my bad.
Yeah. No, you're good, man. Hey,
Man, I thought he was.
he's one of those guys you kind of like. I said the same thing. I almost said the same thing about Ricky Wright. I think
Yeah.
somebody in the comments was like, he's not coming back. I was like, oh, okay. He's looking for an opportunity in the NFL. So
Yeah, respectfully. Yeah. Well, wish him nothing but the best, then, man.
But yeah, so let's get defensive. Like they, Martell Height, obviously you're excited
Martell
about.
Height.
I think Jalen Lackey is going to be extremely good at cornerback. I think I'm excited to see Colby Taylor bounce back. He had a rough year, but
we still have what's the number 2's name? He plays star. Random Fournette.
Yeah,
he's coming back.
He's coming back.
I like him. I like him a lot. We use him in a lot of packages, and I love the way he plays. You know, he's going to go back. He's going to be at that nickel position, blitzing. You feel me? In coverage, he's nice in coverage. I mean, really coming up, making tackles as well.
Line of scrimmage.
I expect for him to have a nice breakout junior year.
He's kind of like what your guy Jacoby Stevens did at LSU. He's kind of like that box safety, good enough to cover in the slot, but it's going to play near the line of scrimmage and make all the tackles on the perimeter runs.
Yeah, I respect it. So I expect for him to have a great year. Just from what I watched from him last year and his intensity and the way he plays, that's another spotlight for me that I feel like he'll have another great year. So hopefully, wish him all the best and expect the best from him. That's another one as well that I put a lot on, and I think that Clark Lee will start to lean more towards too. Him going out there and being a playmaker and going to make a play.
Do you think they go more man coverage? They played a lot of zone last year.
I look from me being a corner and seeing the cornerback play, that the corners that we had there. It just depends on what we got. I can't speak on what they have this year. I was not able to go up there this spring and watch them. I'll definitely be coming up this summer to go over there and watch them while in there in training camp and stuff. So I'm gonna definitely check them out then. It just depends it really does depend on your personnel. I think that their personnel last year, especially at the corner position, more of zone corners, more of stay on top, come tackle, go make a play, have vision on the QB, drive and break. You feel me? If that's what you specialize in, why not run it? Why try to force being a man cover team if you don't got cover, like elite man cover, press on press, elite man cover guys. Yeah. And so you want to play to the strength of as me and my defensive coordinator mindset, I play to the strengths of my defense. And there's no knock on any guy that's there. You feel me? At the end of the day, they have played big in man situations I've seen over this past season. I feel like as well from the secondary. You feel me? If you feel like as a defensive coordinator, my job is to put these players in the best position possible, and you feel like, okay, they're a lot better at reading the quarterback and breaking off and driving and getting to the ball from there, top down. Sure. We're gonna call zone. And if they want to play man, we're going to play man. So I really feel like it's ultimately the D coordinator's perspective of the defense that he has at that time. And so it's really up to them on who they have coming in this year at that secondary position. Because again, playing press man all the time, you got to be elite. You got to have some dogs out there. You got to have some dogs.
I don't know if these guys are quite press man corner guys, but I think you've got a good enough safety to play cover one with Dante Carter and Marlon Sewell. I think you got a good two with the free safety. You got obviously Brandon Fontenette, CJ Hurd to kind of play those, the boundary and the line of scrimmage safety positions. And then you got your corners that I think they can play off man a little bit. They can come up and press. They can play some games. So I think you've got a little bit of talent there now that you can kind of work in some man packages so you can blitz a little bit and so you can bring some pressure in those situations. But when I saw them get beat, and I don't know with your schedule how much you watched in totality. I know you were at a few of the games, but when you saw these corners get beat, to me it felt like it was a lack of communication. Somebody thought somebody else was going to be there. They just got calls. and switches and all that, whatever adjustments you make post snap. I think they got kind of crossed up. And when you saw a guy running wide open, the normal fan response is, "Oh, that guy sucks. He got burnt." When in actuality, he may have been playing his technique, and he may have screwed over the safety, or the safety may have screwed over him, depending on what the situation was.
And that happens. I mean, I haven't seen from what I saw last year, I haven't really seen a guy get just beat during the game or toasted or anything like that. And I mean, even on top of that, we kind of had we had good depth last year, I would say, at corner, because there was a few guys that really
took some injuries.
Yeah, like there was a few guys that contributed and stepped up and really went out there and made plays. And so from that standpoint, I mean, I felt like overall, again, you're winning. You win 7 games at the end of it. We could have had 9. You feel me? At the end of it, our defense was pretty solid. And so I wouldn't put nothing on any individual person that I've seen out there that's like, man, he shouldn't be out there. I think that they ultimately play well all together as a defensive unit, from top down. I mean, I just watching their gameplay from top down, I seen it. My biggest point of improvement for them this year will be to beef up their line of scrimmage, and that could be offensive. That could be offensive.
They've done that. I think they've added some really nice pieces. Aaron Bryant is probably one of the better pieces that they've added up front. They've added a couple guys as developmental pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got some really nice defensive linemen in there. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about their depth there. I think that's going to help get pressure without having to blitz. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I think that late in the season, I think that wore out Vandy. Yeah. Having to bring pressure other than your front four, because you had a lot of injuries and you just couldn't, you just ran. They simply ran out of gas.
Yeah. And I see that. I mean, you can see that. And as a corner, you feel me? Being able to have a front four that can get home at any time it makes your game so much more easier. It reminds me of 2019 playing for the Patriots and our defense when we started out 9 or 10-0. And our front four, we played so much man. We played so much man that we was able to fill up the box, and we had great coverage on the back end at man. At the same time, even when we did go zone, it was such a breath of fresh air because we knew our front four was getting there no matter what. Yeah. And having a front four that's going to disrupt the quarterback, we just need a little bit of timing, because we're already going to disrupt the receivers. That's already our game plan, no matter what, is disrupt receivers. And then from there, if you can disrupt the quarterback and throw off their timing even more, it just makes the game way much easier. That's what causes the tips. That's what causes the overthrows. That's what causes interceptions and turnovers, fumbles. And that's how we get the ball back to our offense, and that's how we continue to score. And it all starts, again, up at the front line. You get knocked back. That's one of the biggest things that me as a defensive coordinator, I would definitely emphasize: getting that knockback, getting in the face of the quarterback, causing that timing disruption no matter what, and getting in their face, making something happen. And that's where bad things happen for offenses. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that they started to really beef up their line. And hopefully it all plays out this year, man. I'm very excited for them.
Yeah, and we're going to get extremely defensive in some later episodes. We're going to really kind of get in the weeds of some scheme stuff. We'll save that for later. But we're gonna switch gears to baseball. I'm excited for it, and I know you're excited for it too. We're gonna go into a little overtime as well. So stick around. All right. Wrapping up the show here very, very soon. Joejuan Williams joining us, man. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. At Locked On Vandy on all social media platforms. If you want to follow Joejuan, where are we going to follow you at?
At Joejuan W. And that's pretty much Instagram, Twitter. If you like gaming, Joejuan W on TikTok, and Joejuan W on Twitch as well, where I'll be streaming games. So there you go. So yeah, he's his own multimedia superstar. So
So Vandy's got their regional, right? Here's the bracket. Okay. Vanderbilt's got Louisville, which has become quite the rivalry. ETSU, Wright State. They will pair up with Hattiesburg, which is Southern Miss, Columbia, Miami, and Alabama in the super regional. Vandy, the number 1 overall seed. It's first time since, well, you were a rookie in the NFL at this point, so you probably weren't paying as much attention to Vandy baseball in that year. But last time they won the national championship, this baseball team is behaving like that bunch. What have you watched much baseball?
I actually saw their SEC title win against Ole Miss, and so I mean, great game, great. But I always, even for me not watching much baseball, I always expect Coach Corbin to come with it. Like he gives me, you know what he gives me? He gives me Saban. He gives me Belichick-ish type of vibes when it just comes to the program. When it comes to how he runs his program, how we expect him to win. You know, how we expect him to go in there and win titles and championships. You know, and so I feel like they've had another great year this year. From the outside looking in, you know, and even watching their last game, you know, it was actually very fun to watch. It took me back to the days of where I was in high school, my senior year of high school, about to go to Vandy, and they're winning the national championship. The year before that, they was back to back in the national championships. I think lost the first one, won the second one, or got them flip flopped either one. But still being around that time, you know, watching them and being excited for them. And even when I was at Vandy, going to the games and watching the games and being able to go support them the same way they supported us. And then meeting Coach Corbin as well, and how he runs his program. I was one of the honorary first pitches out there. And again, just meeting him, he gave me that vibe of where it's like his program is a winning program. He has that winning DNA. And so I expect that from him at all times.
Yeah, and he comes off to me, and this is like, I know this drives fans crazy, the way he does it, because like, and you saw this with Belichick. Obviously, you play for Belichick, so you know this style of coaching. You know, Nick Saban being in the league for so long, we all know kind of how he does things. But like, from the outside, Coach Belichick would do the same thing. He'd make some moves, and you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Math scientist, man.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's how Tim Corbin, like, for a while, he was just pressing all the right buttons. But like, this year was one of those years where you're like, what the heck's he doing? Oh, like, you know, like early in the season, like how he manages the pitching staff, how he creates the lineup. Everybody's like, well, you know, how can you not figure out your lineup earlier and construct it in a way to where you're going to win games early? And I know that drove people crazy, and that actually made people go, is it time? Is it time for Tim Corbin to move on? Like, that was a question that was legitimately asked, not by me, obviously, but I was like, no. I mean, maybe if he wants to retire, maybe if he's burnt out.
Yeah, no, he's earned the right with his winning and his resume here at Vandy. He's earned the right to go down swinging whenever he wants to. So
yeah, and he's already proven too that he knows what he's doing. Like, he doesn't have to prove that to me, but like, he just, another feather in his cap. He's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I found my lineup. Okay, we're just going to be the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Okay, yeah, no worries.
And this is from Vanderbilt fans talking like that.
I saw some buzz about Tim Corbin.
Come on, Vandy. Hey,
yeah. I saw some buzz. No. I mean, the buzz wasn't like terribly loud, but you know, there was for sure.
He's the type of, with his resume again, he's the type of guy that where it's like, he goes down swinging. I don't care. You have 3 straight losing seasons. You give him that third opportunity, or 2 straight losing seasons. You give him that third opportunity.
You just let him retire, man. Just let him retire on his own terms. Don't fire that guy. Like, that guy's been a master for you, for baseball.
Very much.
Well, Joejuan, that's going to do it for us here. We went a little bit over time, not too bad, but that's going to do it for us. There's way more to come from you. This is not your last episode, unless in the fall you join an NFL team and you don't get quite as much time. But
oh yeah, it's gonna happen. That's the intention. You feel me? At the same time, though, we're gonna make it happen. We get off days. We get off days. So
we'll find some time. Sunday at 1:00. No, we'll find some time for sure, no matter what happens. But Joejuan, this is far from your last visit. So we're gonna talk even more football as we go. So Vandy fans, buckle up. Joejuan's gonna be a fixture on this show, so get used to him. But thanks for joining me again. You're gonna be back, so it's not goodbye. See you next time. But until then, have a great weekend. If you go to the Hawk for these games, be careful, enjoy yourself, have fun, and we'll see you back here next week on the next episode of the Locked On Vandy podcast. Anchor down. Peace.